of us lovely people are on Huetopia, which is a channel for BinPOC by BinPOC, and my show, which usually there's some plug information, but guess what? I'm the one who writes all that information, so I didn't do my homework. Bad producer. Yeah. Alright. After a little telling myself off, let's actually go around the table and introduce everybody. I will go next. So why don't we start with... I go alphabetically by player, by let's just go by character name. So let's start with Gojin. So hello. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where we can find you.
Hi, my name's Anino. I use he, him pronouns. And for Kanya, I play Gojin/Nabir, the fighter, and he uses he, him pronouns as well.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I play Johnsly Tahid, who is the doctor of the party. You can find me on Twitter by Connie Chung, and you can also find me on Twitter at TransplanerRPG, which I am the GM and executive producer of.
As you can see, here's where you can get alphabetized things. I believe next would be the friend with many names, one of which is Rahim.
Hey, I'm Bashir Gauss, he, him. You can find me on Twitter at Bashir Gauss or at itch.io at havocfet.itch.io.
Wonderful. And last but not least, amongst our players, we have Morgan, aka Kelsey.
Hello, I am Morgan. My pronouns are they, them, and she, her interchangeably. You can find me in all the socials at Serena Bezos. I play Tulsi, the naturalist. They use they, them pronouns. They're my little dirt baby, and I love them dearly. And yeah, I do things. Find me. Be my friend.
Yeah, wonderful. I think, yep, it seems like my mic is doing weird things. Because I'm trying to move settings, and I maybe just need to be right up my mic now. I think that has to do with some of my equalizer settings and stuff like that. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Mariam, the guide for the story. I use they, them pronouns, and I will be playing pretty much every other character that is there. And you can find me on Twitter at media_Jenny. With that done, let us get to a recap of what happened last episode. Some very spicy things happened. And some twists and turns. So we would like to, if you are tuning in for the first time, I usually make the players go over the recap, because it's just much more interesting. One less thing for me to do, and also, it's interesting to hear what the players have to say. However, if there's any important information that is missing, I will fill it.
All right. Does anyone want to take point on this one, or?
I mean, it's mainly about you, buddy. So, like, you start us off.
That's fair. I did get us into this mess. So we went to meet with Rahim's employer, on behalf of whom he was supposed to get the Cosmic Forge. I've got the name here.
Yes, we finally have names.
Yes, this is for let's see. Junior Lohari Jr., not the young Lahari Jr., which is the name given to us, not actually his name, just kind of what he's called. And over the nature of the job and whether or not they lied to us, to me, and whether or not they've been disappearing villages in pursuit of illicit wealth in a nominally currency-free society. And we got in through the door. We kind of waited for this dude to show up in his waiting room. Someone, not going to name names, got in on some drugs. Some other people, not going to name names, just piled food into their lap and started eating. And then he showed up. Negotiations went poorly. Rahim's real name got revealed to the erstwhile villain, and eventually we kind of went with Plan A, which was, or Rahim went with his Plan A, which was to try and kidnap this guy for information. And everyone else started running as hostilities broke out, and that escalated. Gojin cut a guy in half. Rahim, I think, basically just menaced the hell out of a dude and ran for it. Everyone escaped with varying amounts of mayhem going on. And eventually managed to lose our pursuers outside of the facility and realized, oh shoot, we're going to have to leave town, especially since there's a dead guy. We also met the uncle of the Lohar family, which I have his name here too, Ranjha Lohari, who was trying to hide the magic artifact, and was less than thrilled that I'd found it and revealed its existence to everyone and put it on irrevocably bonding it to myself. And so yeah, that went places, and we eventually decided we were going to leave town. Everyone kind of figured that they'd go make whatever goodbyes they need to and preparations, and we split up.
Yeah, I think that covers most of it. Does anyone else want to add a couple of things?
Feels pretty succinct to me.
Also, Tulsi turned into a big cat and scared.
Oh my
Johnson.
god! Yes.
Oh
Tulsi
yes.
turned into a big cat.
There was a lot of feline intervention happening.
Oh, and the smallest of woo.
The smallest of a woos, yes. Just a little bit furry. Just a smidge.
Just a tad on the fuzzy side. Did we say that Gojin killed somebody? Because that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Veer totally killed a guy.
Your Ed's got to work out. All right. So for the purposes of this, for the next little bit, we are going to play a little hard moves with your good and reason off. What do you do before you all meet and leave before dawn? Have a few hours to do this.
I mean, Rahim's just packing all of his stuff, so don't think Rahim's doing much.
Is there anything anyone else would like to do? Like say goodbyes or what have you?
Yes, definitely. Johnsely is going to have to scribble a very apologetic note to her employers at the healing center. So while she's packing all her stuff, she's going to pull out a length of parchment from a scroll, sort of haphazardly slice it with a knife, bring out a quill, and scribble a notice of her own termination to the healing center, starting with a lengthy apology, leaving the details very vague, mentioning a few suggestions that she would give the healing center about how to shelve their equipment and certain procedures for a time efficiency that she had never got the guts to really ask her employer to implement, but now that she's leaving is going to ask them to implement, and then she's going to sign off with her signature and a PS, don't come looking for me, please. Yep. And then she's going to roll it up, put her seal on it, and tie it up in a neat little bow and drop it into the healing center mail slot.
I got a question. What does the seal look like?
What does the seal look like?
Yeah.
It looks like a skull. Yeah. Looks like a human skull.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes,
I
it
look
does. Unexpected goth girl, Johnsley? Who knows?
What?
Yep. And then she's going to pack as many clothes as she can into a little suitcase, a satchel rather, as well as all the potions she got from the auction, the pot she got from the auction as well, and a few like assorted odds and ends, healing herbs, candles, stuff like that.
All right. So I think my audio should be just a little better. I think I've turned on my noise suppression. So let me know if whoever's listening to the stream, not any of y'all, the players.
I think you sound great. I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh no, I probably sound fine
No,
in Google.
I'm teasing. Because I'm like, I don't know about you, but I think... Yeah, I'm just teasing. So Tulsi is going to just pack up the bag that they had already. Apparently still overly filtered. But
Yeah.
So they're packing up the bag that they already had and just going outside and hanging out with their tree friend until they gotta go. So they're just gonna sit there they're gonna sit there just like leaning against the tree and just like take a little cat nap against it, waiting for everybody else.
Okay. Excuse me, I had to cough. Yeah, so your tree friend, in the couple of hours, has got a much more, lusher foliage.
Oh, yeah.
And has, the two knots that look like eyes. And, yeah, that's, I sound normal now because I turned all my filters off, which means I should probably double check my filters besides, and not try to do it like 3 minutes or 4 minutes before I step into a call. But yeah, so the trees just kind of, like that, like those, air people, like those balloon people at a car sales room sort of a thing, just kind of, yep, in the breeze, and the eyes are like,
Ah, yeah, my friend. And he's gonna be behind this clinic forever. That's what they're doing.
yep. And you get the sense of like immense sort of like happiness of just you being near.
I also have that same feeling, so the feeling is mutual.
Aww. Yeah.
My friend.
Okay, Gojin, is there any preparation you were doing or anything you'd like to do before y'all leave?
No, he travels very light.
Okay. Yeah, so at dawn, unless something else was arranged, I assume you all meet near an area where essentially all close to the outskirts of the city where caravans tend to leave. Yeah, there is a caravan that is heading in that is heading north, but you don't have to go all the way north to the Pahari region, the western Pahari region. We had sort of talked about it off screen, off game, but where would you all like to actually go?
I was still thinking like we might want to check out one of those abandoned villages to see where like look into the specifics of this thing. But also maybe we don't want to further piss off the guys who want to kill us immediately and go somewhere they'll probably stake out. So I could see the argument against it.
Yeah, and also at dawn, a very familiar cat shows up and sort of does the whole kind of like pick me up kind of motion to Gojin.
You can climb, can't you? And
And still kind of just like hangs on by a claw to like your near your knee and sort of dangling.
God, you're so lazy. And he's just going to reach down and pick up the cat and sort of toss it a little up in the air and so it'll land on the shoulder.
Does a little kind of like, I do not like being tossed. This is very
This is an indignity.
yes.
How dare you?
Yes. And an indignant Mao comes out.
So Gojin, remember that is a grown man. That is a. I'm very much against holding the grown man, even though he is in feline form.
I will. Give me the kitty.
Oh, Tulsi.
And the cat sort of looks at Dulcie for a second, looks at Gojin, and just hops onto Dulcie.
I got a baby.
Hey, you. And Johnson's gonna lean in and like look the cat in the eyes, and she's gonna say, you disgust me. Okay? You might have everyone else here fooled, but you repulse me.
And you just get the biggest Puss in Boots eyes staring back at you. Who,
That
me?
might work if I didn't see you in full stubble at, 4 o'clock shadow situation just a few hours ago. That might have worked. But I remember what you smelled like, and I remember your creepy voice. So, I'm watching you.
Are you just jealous because nobody here is going to carry you on their shoulders?
Jealous? Me? I don't need to be carried like a child. Stop.
I mean, you're tiny. I could probably just throw you over my shoulder and walk the entire way.
Gojin, I swear to the gods, if you even attempt such an undignified action upon my body, I am going to scream, and I will not stop for a long time, or until I get tired.
All right, well, your loss.
Junsley's gonna cross her arms over her chest and look kind of forlornly at the healing center, and then nod at the rest of the party.
Tulsi, as they're leaving, is gonna wave to the tree and then just catch up with the rest of the group. How tall, compared to the clinic, how tall is the tree now?
The tree is about the clinic is a 2-story building, so let's say about 10 to 12 feet. And the tree is maybe, I'd say, about 7 or 8 by this point. And you get this, you see the tree sort of drooping just a little today, just a little, not as happy and wavy and dancy.
I run back, give it a quick hug, and then I'm like, okay, I'll see you later. Keep this clinic safe, and I like give it a little pat, and I run off to fetch up.
And you notice
Oh my
that
god, do the tree friends die super quickly? As
No,
magic
don't
trees?
say these things. How could you, Bashir? I'm gonna cry.
It's been a day and it's already like drooping.
It's just sad. It's not dying.
What's the difference, really?
Oh.
It's not sadness and death of the soul.
and you notice that after you say that, take care of the clinic, it's sort of like drooping a little towards the clinic, like trying to cover it.
Oh.
It's not big enough yet, but it's just kind of like.
When we get back, it'll be so big and strong, and it's gonna be like basically encasing the whole clinic.
I feel like one way or the other, we are going to be mildly horrified by what we come back to. Someday.
Or amazed by the amusement of beauty and nature. Excuse you.
Yeah, so Uncle Cat is right now purring in your arms, perfectly content, and just, yep, and just snuggling in, like, just.
Kitty.
Tree has grown very quickly. You know, if I didn't quit, they probably would have fired me because of it.
It's not on your property.
Well, not yet. I live pretty much right directly above the clinic.
The tree's in the park behind the clinic. It's fine.
Yeah. It's just I'm
Currently,
impressed.
the tree is currently in the park behind the clinic.
Exactly. Who knows? Perhaps it will propagate if it's growing at such an expedient rate. Either way, let's get out of here. I don't want to dawdle for any longer than is absolutely necessary.
Tree babies. That's all Tulsi. Propagate, and that's where Tulsi's brain.
Come back to us, Tulsi. Come back.
Yeah, so the caravan that is going is a 2-vehicle caravan at the moment. It seems to be a more of a it's not a merchant caravan. It is more of a sort of career and passenger caravan, where it's like you can pay your way, but it's one of those things where it's not terribly expensive, and it's something you can and I'd like to also clarify that currency does exist in this world. It's just with at least Quest, inventory management is not a thing.
Got it.
So if it's things that you need to either accomplish your thing or is common enough, you have it. Anything that's uncommon, rare, or above, and it's not just items, just in general, like it's hard to find, then you can essentially try to get it either by doing a quest or a favor or etc.
Okay.
Trading in kind. So yeah, as you are on the caravan, the one of the drivers looks at the cat and says, "Ah, who's a cute kitty?" And the kitty goes,
Sorry, he doesn't like strangers.
and just starts purring.
And just like turn away.
So it's going to be a couple days travel. Is there anything that you would like to do as you travel? Is there essentially, I'm just asking if there's any sort of conversations you'd like to have amongst each other, or some sort of a downtime activity that you would like to do.
I'd like to learn about this merchant caravan. What are they trading? Where are they headed? You know, 4 to 5 NPCs and backstories.
Well, not this particular one. This one's more of a courier and passenger. So it's like, yeah, there's four other. There's basically a driver. There's like the one who drives and the one who rides shotgun, sort of a thing, and they switch. One sort of keeps a lookout. The other, and yeah, they just switch between each other.
All right.
I
So this
think
is just kind of, we're traveling together to wherever, so we're less likely for people to try and murder us, and or so we have people to deal with emergencies and the like.
Yeah.
All right.
I think what Johnsley's going to try to do during this few days journey is, first of all, she's bored. We're just sort of sitting around in a caravan. So she is going to experiment with the 12 magic potions that she won from Tulsi from the auction, and she is going to basically, I think it's totally fine if I don't even get the benefits of it, though. If you wanted me to roll for their effects just for flavor, I'm down for that as well. But she's gonna use probably 2 of those potions. She's gonna experiment with them in the pot.
But they will get used up though.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm
okay,
with her.
Cool.
Using
yeah, so for that, I would say roll them dies. Roll them die. One die.
Roll them die.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. 1 die.
And how are you? Are you basically imbibing it? Like, are you gonna swig it?
Yeah, she's gonna take a little sip of the first one. She got a 13.
A 13?
Yeah.
All right. As you drink it, I gotta look up, because some of them are spell effects, so I need a moment to get to the page. Okay. Wait, is it really this page? Oh no, it's the next one.
Well, you're gonna drink. Oh, hopefully it's not too bad.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I've been watching with the cat, I think the cat's on the shoulder, and Toasty's just has a pillow or something, just doing one of these,
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you take a swig, your lips and your tongue go numb.
Okay.
And they start to swell and harden as they go numb. Oh gosh, please, and yeah, that's about it. They sort of harden, they swell and harden, and as you kind of touch it, you feel no sensation whatsoever. And as you, I think, perhaps consume a little more, it starts spreading to the rest of you.
Okay.
And with a hard, as you're traveling, there's there's a bump on the road, and you all get jostled, and you feel like you should, your bum should feel some pain from hitting the seat. You don't feel anything.
Okay. Johnsley pauses. She finishes swigging it. Does she turn into stone or something?
No,
or is she,
you just...
Oh, okay. I didn't self-petrify. I was a little worried.
But essentially what happens is, for the rest of the day, you are affected by the ability Calcify.
Okay.
Cool. So, because it is actually in your school, I can tell you the sort of the meta effects is essentially you absorb up to 2 hit points from physical hits. You're not going to be doing anything unless something else happens. And any damage dealt in the excess of 2 hit points hits you normally. So basically, absorb 2 is what you're getting from it.
Cool. So I think how that works out is Johnson's going to feel this hardening, anti-pain sensation. She's going to unsheath her knife and just sort of tap the flat of it against her arm, and it sort of rings hollowly. And then she's going to bring the blade of it against her forearm and just sort of go, okay, and bring it down. But it absorbs two points of damage, right? And the knife does damage.
1.
So,
does it do 2?
It says
Uh,
All
common.
weapons do too.
Okay,
I
yeah,
have two-
weapons. Yeah, so yeah, it does. You certainly see the blood, but you do not
Oh,
feel its pain.
Cool. She goes, and then she puts her knife away and she heals herself. She like brings her hand over it, sort of similar to how she healed Gojin. She's gonna bring her hand over it, and as soon as her hand swipes over her skin, the wound is gone. She goes, fascinating, because her tongue's still like lead. And she takes out her journal and she scribbles in it. And the next day she's gonna try another potion.
Okay,
Someone wants to do
roll
something
another die.
Okay, let's do it. 4.
4. Okay. So as you imbibe this, you. All right. You've experimented with a lot of the recreational drugs that the youngins may show up with after a really hard night partying and etc. and stuff. And have you ever tried them out for yourself?
Probably.
Yeah.
For medical research purposes, yes, I think Johnsley has.
Well, this feels like some sort of combination of really weird things. So, for the next hour, you are going to feel paranoia,
Oh boy.
euphoria,
Ooh.
and chills
So she's,
as you are
like,
affected by Nox.
is this like a form of like tripping, like fantasy tripping? Okay.
Yeah, for about an hour.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's not too long. Yeah. Johnsley slugs down, goes. Well, at least I'm not turning.
Johnsley and like Tulsi just like, you okay?
Tulsi, there's a shadow on your shoulder.
Do this thing.
Meow.
Oh, God, it's so loud. Get it away from me. And she's going to freak out for the next hour. And when she's sort of calmed down, she's come down, she's going to scribble in her journal again. And that, I think, is how I'm going to justify her new ability that she's gained since our last session. She's experimenting on herself and trying to really learn what these potions are doing to her and how they're affecting her perception of the world. So thanks to imbibing these potions, she's now learned sort of how to harness the inherent magic that she's learned from them to alter other people's perception around her. And maybe like if like any insects or like bugs or birds like flitter by, she's gonna try to use this ability on them as like a test run. But yeah, that is what Johnsley does for the few days of travel.
Yep, you just imbibe the potions that seem to be where all the good stuff is.
Yes, definitely.
Stims and drugs and other things. Okay. I feel like does that count for the shot count?
Yes, that absolutely counts for the shot count. Mark off.
Okay.
Oh boy. All right. What does I felt like Dulcie had something that you wanted to do, or Gojin? What would you like to do?
Gojin is probably just going through his tea, just sampling the number of different blends that he had picked up at the market, and experimenting with water temperatures as well as the amount of tea. But he doesn't act like a junkie like some people in the caravan.
Called out.
He can quit his tea anytime he wants. Look at how steady his hands are.
I'm not being a junkie, Gojin. I'm being a researcher. Okay? Hands on. Would you prefer that I experiment on you? No? I didn't think so.
As if you could.
I would personally prefer that you did experiment on Gojin rather than having the one person who can treat the effects of random magical potions being the one who's being tested on. But there are obvious ethical issues with that.
Yeah, yes. Rahim, I'm glad you recognize my value in this group.
Well,
as
hang
well
on.
as how your lives are basically in the palm of my hand, so please.
I don't understand. Why don't you just test it on, Rahim? I mean, sure, it affects you, a human, in a certain sense, but what are the kinds of effects that happen on a more reptilian form?
What? Okay, well now that's compelling.
We actually have inexplicably similar physiologies in terms of magical effects and drugs. As far as I can tell, we're not actually immune or vulnerable to anything you aren't. You'd really think that there would be something there, but to the best of my knowledge, most common ailments, drugs, medicinal techniques, and the like are cross-species applicable, possibly for convenient reasons more than anything else.
Okay, Rahim, I won't test it on you while you're awake. That's all. That's John Slee's contribution. You can do your tea thing. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, so that's what he's been doing. You'll notice that there's a big pile of the blend of tea that comes from his country, part of the country, that has been largely untouched. Like he's had it as a reference, but people will notice if they're paying a lot of attention is that he doesn't drink a whole lot of it, as if he is quite familiar with it. But you'll note on the bag that there are a couple of lines that just say this was over dried and didn't use enough of the nutmeg in order to balance out the rest of the flavors.
Interesting.
He's actually quite a tea snob. He also has a very fancy journal in which he's been tracking all of his accumulated tea knowledge.
Cool.
I think
whenever... Go ahead. Sorry.
I think whenever Tulsi sees both of them writing in their journals, Tulsi's like, yes, I too have a journal, and pulls out like this like ratty notebook. And it's mainly just doodles.
Is it from the same notebook that you pulled out like the notes to hand to John Slee when you first met her? That was like stained with like food.
Yeah, that one.
I love that.
So Tulsi's like just like listening and watching and like asking everybody to tell them some story about their past because everybody's so intrigued to them. So they ask for a story a day from each of you and everybody else, but like that's all.
So the way it works is that 2 of you are on one caravan and 2 on the other. Just in terms of like the general, it's not going too terribly fast that you can't walk along with it if you are on the fitter end. Although it's maybe more like a brisk jog, as well as you can definitely sleep at any point during the journey, as there's enough room to kind of just lie down on the various... It's not terribly comfy unless you like use your own like bag or use some of the sleeping equipment that is carried when they camp for the night. But there's essentially bags of parcels and bags of mail, like letters, that are usually kept closer to the front, where within eyesight of the caravan people. And the both caravans are actually run by siblings, two sisters, and their loved ones.
Very cool. Is there any opportunity to like talk to these sisters?
There's plenty of time. Not at the same time while you're traveling, unless you go back and forth. But when you camp for the evening, you certainly could.
Cool.
Yeah.
During one of those nights, while they're talking around the camp, Gojin is just going to comment idly. He's just say, "Wow, it must be nice to work with your spouse, your partners in the business. Must be very pleasant, and on and so forth. Having a supportive partner, thick and thin, must be nice."
And
he
and
just
they
looks a
all
little wistful as he says that.
yeah, and they all just kind of smile, initially smile kind of like really pleasantly, and I think after like the second or third day just give a weak acknowledged smile. But yeah, so you don't actually know what their names are. They kind of just call each other by the titles they give each other. So one's Didi and one's Chutki, which is sort of like big sister, little sister. And the spouses' names, I totally am not coming up with on the spot right here. But we'll go with Didi's spouse and Chutki's spouse if it's needed, and they are from the Bhavra community, which tends to be very much a community where a lot of the caravan people come from, as it is the thing that, especially since you are somewhat close to Registan, you'll be seeing a lot more of them.
I'm sorry, can you repeat Didi's spouse and what was the other one?
Chutki. So that would be Chutki.
Cool.
I think Tulsi just calls them auntie and uncle. Like just because that's names that they have to remember, so they're just aunties and uncles.
Yep. Aunties. Auntie 1, Auntie 2. Or
Auntie Didi and Auntie
yeah.
What was the other one again?
Chutki.
Chutki?
Yeah, so Didi is sort of like the big sister. Chutki is the smaller, like the younger sister.
Yeah. And I think Tulsi will run in between every, like, just to keep active as well. And just, like, look for stories between everybody. And sometimes on occasion might turn into, like, an animal to, like, keep up. Like, maybe, like, just a big cat just to keep along with them, just so they have, like, if they go through a scary area, like a forest where, like, there might be predators, Tulsi will become a predator and be like, "These are mine."
and there's a small cat riding on the big cat.
Yes.
I've literally never seen that ever before. I want that to be drawn now. Every time you transform, Tulsi, even though you do it like several times, Johnsly always startles. She's always like, "Oh, gods above and below." Tulsi, you're talented. I'll have to give you that.
And there's an indignant meow from the small cat.
I'm still repulsed. Still extremely disgusted by you, Mr. Man. And she is gonna, like strike up like casual conversation with like the people running the caravan. But mostly I think she's pretty introverted. Other than that, she's gonna sort of mostly keep to herself and her journal.
Yeah, so during one of the nights, you see your familiar friend when the rest of the caravan is asleep. Who do you think would be up at night, possibly kind of staying up later than usual amongst the four of you? Not it.
Goes.
Rahim might, if he thinks someone else is, basically he would be like staying up to spy on someone else who's staying up, just to see what's up with them. As part of that aggressive nosiness.
Gojin would probably be up, having negotiated with one of the caravan members to take a shift of night guard duty.
Okay. So, I'd say then, Gojin, you hear the sound of, like, rustling, like someone's going through bags.
Is it something that I can see from where I'm posted?
Yeah, like, it's nearby. Like, it's enough to catch your attention. It's actually... It would have been really, really hard to hear it were you not nearby. And it sounds like it's in the direction of where your bags are.
All right, Gojin is going to draw his quarterstaff and creep slowly towards the bags to investigate.
You start hearing the sound of crunching, like someone's eating very crunchy food. And as you approach, you see a very familiar silhouette of a hobo, like 40-year-old man, kind of like has rustled through several of your companions' bags and mostly has various rations kind of opened and is just like had a sampler from each and is just like, this should go good with some of the tea. I should, I wonder if there's... and starts rustling through your bag for some tea.
Gojin is going to pour some of the tea that he had been drinking on his watch and just say, "Oh, here, why don't you have some of this?"
Oh, why, thank you. And just without missing a beat, just takes it and starts sipping and taking the hard, like some of your mother's snacks, if there's still some left, and dipping it in and biting it.
Did you just double dip?
So what? I was gonna be the one eating it.
You're ruining perfectly good tea.
And he says, no, I'm not. If I enjoy it, then I didn't ruin it, technically. Now, if I gave it to you, and sort of gives it to you, and then you didn't like it, then yes, of course I did ruin it. But since I'm the one drinking it, and then kind of like really loudly, yet also quietly, slurps the tea in the most undignified manner with a pinky out. You get the sense he's doing it on purpose to to get a rise out of you.
You know, if you were hungry, you could have just said something and we would have put something aside for you, but instead you're just ruffling through our bags and invading our privacy.
I'm not reading any of your journals, okay? I just wanted some snacks. I had the munchies.
You know, it's really bad to have late night snacks at this hour.
Well, as a cat, everything just goes right through me, and people seem to just keep giving me fish. I'm kind of sick of fish. And what's this thing with milk? You know, I can't just have water.
Well, maybe if you didn't try to act so cutesy around everybody.
Well, I did claw up that lady's really good pants, so I'm pretty sure she's not going to be going after, petting me or feeding me any moment. So really, I just have y'all to depend on. I mean, you were the one who insisted I come here.
Well, technically, that wasn't my idea, but if you want me to make you a little less enticing and spoiled by some of the other caravan members, and he holds up the eager edge, I can give you a shave.
Ooh, sparring time. Nice.
I don't even know why I bother. He just snatches the cup away, tosses the tea aside, and starts cleaning it out and wanders back to his post.
And after a couple of bites of, doesn't finish your mom's snacks that were made, but just kind of eats a good portion of it, turns back into a cat and wanders off into the forest for a little while.
No. At least it's housebroken.
So yeah, in the morning, you notice that your rations have reduced significantly and actually just been left out there. There's now several wood creatures, forest creatures, enjoying what is left of them.
I try to pet every single one of them.
I wait until Tulsi's kind of out of the way and basically try to nab something for breakfast. I don't know, a squirrel.
Well, if you are serious about that, roll me a d20 to see if you can actually bag some breakfast.
4. It goes poorly.
Yes, you first of all you fail, and you take one damage by a squirrel bite for your trouble.
As the squirrel runs away, can Johnsley try to grab it?
Sure. Roll me a d20.
Come on, big money, big money. 17.
Yep, you grab it.
Great. Johnsley just sort of goes, oh, and she grabs it by its scruff. And she looks kind of surprised that she got it. She goes, oh, were you going after this?
Yes, thank you. Have you eaten squirrel before? Do you have a particular way you prefer it, or?
Slow roasted would be nice.
It's right now doing this as it's held by the scruff.
When I was traveling to the city, I had to sort of scrounge around in the wilderness for my own food. I lost my rations in an unfortunate fording of a river, so I had to make do. But I do like them slow roasted. Otherwise, the meat's a little too gamey. And she hands the squirrel to you, Rahim.
Very fair. Rahim just butters the squirrel, starts preparing it.
Tulsi's nowhere around this, or else they would start crying.
Tulsi, you turn into a huge predator every night. Are you a vegetarian?
Yeah.
That's so funny. It's so funny to me.
Yeah, so Tulsi's okay. Tulsi's off chasing squirrels or something, just trying to pet them, and you're busy killing them. And they're like, hey, what's going on?
Oh. Yeah, we don't have to be super explicit about the squirrel food.
It was if you succeeded, we assume you got to enjoyed your meal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you notice that rations of specifically food, your other stuff in your bags are perfectly fine. Just the food has been left out in the open.
Mm-hmm. Johnsley just goes, oh, what even happened here? My pen!
Squirrel got into it.
Squirrel?
Of course.
The cat? Did someone say the cat?
Did someone say the cat?
Yeah, and
she's
Goja just points at it.
And I just
Johnsley's
go up against everyone's legs and like purring and just like, I'm so cute.
Oh, no. And Johnsley slowly pulls out her ruined pants. She goes, "Do you know these are bespoke?"
Oh, it
You
wasn't
can't
it wasn't your pants, it was the caravan.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I'm gonna just. That doesn't happen.
But it could be your pants if you wanted to.
I think I'm fine with it being Johnsley's pants.
Yep.
Bespoke, I tell you. Don't rub up on me. You know, cats only do that when they're trying to scent on people and mark them as their territory. I am not territory to be marked, kind sir. Humph. Just gonna put her pants back in her duffel bag.
Yeah, and with that, unless there's any other scenes you would like to cover or discuss or talk about.
Real quick.
Yeah.
As Tulsi realizes that they're low on supplies, I think they're gonna try to forge something, like maybe find some stuff.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Yeah. Also, I want to do a thing. Hold on.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, question: do we have like the stuff I find? Is it like a container of stuff or?
Oh, as in the volume?
Yeah, like is it being held in a thing?
Wait, are you talking about the stuff you forge or the stuff that is left outside?
The stuff I forged. Like, can I put like a basket or something, or like?
Oh yeah. You can certainly you would have containers in which to fill them up. So if you have an ability that allows you to do that, then you would definitely fill her up.
Okay. Yeah. So after I get like a couple snacks or something or whatever I find, I'm just like, oh, look at all these precious things, and I bet there's like 3 things in there that y'all see, and I'm gonna use wild font, which is you touch a container of holding food, water, or oil. For the next minute, the container summons a surplus of its contents, spilling the excess materials out generously. For example, if you touch a pitcher of water, it will overflow and cover the floor, or if you touch a sack of grain, it will burst open, creating a large pile. So I'm just gonna put the basket down, like in the back of the caravan, and just be like, "You'll be good right here," and just give like a little pat, and just let it just like the food, let the snacks flow.
Yay!
Snacks.
Yeah. So what sort of snacks?
I think something that was foraged in the area. I'm trying to think of like.
So berries would definitely be a thing. I think I'd say a variety of berries and like edible leaves.
Yeah, gotta give me those leaves. Yes, so
and
yeah, so
and roots or mushrooms would also work.
I think I'm gonna go with berries. I just picked like a bushel, and I just threw it in the basket. And, yeah, and then just
edible seeds of some kind would also work. Nuts.
Macadamians. Ooh. Yeah, just all of a sudden you see this thing just starting to like have an abundance of food just sprouting out from it.
Oh. Wow. Tulsi, what can't you do?
Fight.
Eat meat.
Investigate. Eat meat.
Unfortunately, the Google Translate got the wrong. It said "eat me" instead of "eat meat."
I gotta start enunciating better.
John Slade tilts her head to the side and says, You know, forgive me for making this observation if it comes off as abrasive or not my place, but you do seem to have a passion for food."
I mean, it's what keeps us alive. It's all around us. Yeah, like it's just natural. At least the stuff I can find. And then she's gonna pop some berries in their mouth and just like hang out.
Yes, you do seem very in tune with She plucks a twig from your hair. Nature.
Oh yeah, I was looking for that one.
Yes. Johnslee glances over at Goshen and says, "And you're into tea, right? I did notice that."
Doc, your powers of observation are most impressive.
I'm going to take that at face value and say thank you.
So you can't sarcasm. That's your hidden weakness. Is that it?
Johnson just sort of laughs and says, "No, my hidden weakness is I hate myself." But, it's been a while since I've been around so many people for such a long period of time. People who weren't, sick or dying. I've forgotten
That's fair.
what it was like for other people to have hobbies or desires outside of "I don't want to die." Miriam's face.
It's just like, oh my god, that is like that is the most profound and also the saddest thing I've ever heard. I don't know what it's like aside from people not trying to die.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What about you, Rahim?
That's just it. Just ha ha ha.
I think it's very funny.
Put me on this one. My hobby is making people mildly miserable in technically legal ways.
I didn't think that was so much a hobby as it was a calling.
It depends on how you define hobby, really. But yeah, that. You could argue that, sure. I would not oppose that characterization of how I treat most people in my life.
Yep. Okay. So, if there's anything else, we will fast track a little, and you are left about a couple of hours walk away from this village that you would like to go. They tell you it's like, well, we're not going to go any further as it makes the oxes quite nervous, and honestly, it makes us quite nervous.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
There's a lot of talk of it being an inauspicious place and it being filled with all sorts of creatures and ghosts. And we would really not like to go there and have it rub off on us in any shape or form.
Yeah, that sounds fair enough. Do you know where the nearest town is besides, like, the haunted one we're going to, in case, we need to get somewhere in a hurry and you guys have already moved, you all have already moved on?
Well, we will be stopping at a town close to the border insert province because I don't have it right off the top of my head. But it is about, we will be there trading. Once we reach there, we'll be trading for and distributing our packages and grabbing mail and other items for about a week. So if you can reach us there within a week, you can continue traveling with us.
Good to know. God's willing, as it were.
God's willing. And may whatever luck or vibe in this place not rub off on you. And may you rub onto it.
What's the story about this place?
It's one of the well, I guess wouldn't say that in front of these guys. So I'll
And the
probably,
cat starts hissing at you as you start, like.
I think with that, Tulsi's like, oh,
Ghost Town. We'll fill you in on the legends on the way.
ghost.
Yes, ghosts and nothing else.
And as you notice that as you are reaching this town, that your cat friend is not terribly happy about going here. In fact, looks incredibly upset and sad.
If you know something about what we're walking into, you could always just tell us.
Not in this form.
Well, yeah, but he can change back.
In front of the peoples?
Yeah, let's say goodbye to the caravan first, and then we can talk amongst ourselves. Thank you so much for the ride. It was lovely. We really appreciate it. We also appreciate your discretion. So if anyone asks about anyone that looks like us, please don't say anything.
Could you be any more obvious?
Dee Dee sort of looks at you and says, "Who are we talking about?"
Don't worry about it.
Thanks, aunties. Thanks, uncles.
Thank you.
And Tulsi's just like holding the cat and just like knocking over their microphone in the process.
And now there goes Uncle.
Oh no, Kitty. I'm a mess. But yeah, they're just like, bye.
Thank you.
And the caravans continue forward down the path, and there's essentially a trail that that goes off the path, and you can see very clearly the path kind of ends into a thick forest. Like, sort of like this place is overgrown. Whatever village was here has been claimed by nature for at least a decade or more, perhaps.
Wow. Okay. Is my death sense going off? Are there spirits in the area? Ghosts?
Let me quickly check what death sense does, because I have a book that makes it easier for me than the multiple screens.
I can also read it out loud if that's useful.
Sure. Yeah.
You naturally sense whether any remnants of the dead, spirit creatures, for instance, are nearby but not their positions.
Oh, right, because you can always do it and you're just waiting to sort of, like, trigger it.
Yeah, it's sort of like a passive ability. Yep.
So there's nothing over here for sure.
Okay.
As you are you all making your way to this village now?
Affirmative. At least Johnsley is.
Okay, so it's going to be several hours, and basically the jungle, like the sort of forest and the overgrown path makes it actually harder. Like, it slows you down more than you'd expect as you try to clear your way. Unless anybody has any abilities that allow you to speed that up. But the biggest thing is, at this point, the cat goes off your shoulder and kind of fucks off. Like, just kind of goes ahead and is like, has a very dejected tail and looks like without actually getting wet, a very kind of like a sorry cat that has been in a downpour sort of a feel.
Wait, no, Kitty, come back.
Yeah, you better
Very
not run off.
droopy, clearly miserable, doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
Is kind of offended that you're making it be here, even though there's nowhere else it's gonna be.
Yep.
Uncle Kitty, come back.
Well, there's only one place it could go to at this point. Let's just keep going.
For the time being, your rather reluctant companion is out of sight. However, it seems to be they have gone out of sight in the direction of the village. So by the time you catch up, it's possible you'll see them at the village some point. I will let you know if they're missing and you need to look for them.
I do use a spell, though, or
Okay,
not a spell, I'll use a skill. Basically, it's the same one that I use to talk to the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
It's command nature based, so I don't use a point or whatever or an action point. Basically, you whisper a rhyming cutlet to the living plants around you, and basically, I think Tulsi's like, I like to move it, move it. We like to move it, move it. We like to move because she's trying to get the roots out of the way so they're not like climbing all over.
As you kind of sing this song and kind of do your thing, um, your path seems to what would have been actually fairly um, challenging, and you may had to have used like implements to slash your way through. They just seem to move away, sort of like the parting of a river almost as you lead the party through.
And I think Tulsi's just sort of like just dancing, just like doing like a little like.
Yep.
I like to move.
Johnsley is very on edge, so this is making her even more on edge. When Tulsi is dancing through the forest, it's like we see Tulsi dancing and then pans to Johnsley. She looks hollow and haunted as you get closer and closer to the village.
And yeah, as you can now kind of see the village, your death sense definitely tingles a little bit, but there's nothing like you're just on the outer edge of it.
I think Johnsley just sort of stops. It's been a what?
It's been about an hour or two.
Cool. Are there a lot of spirit creatures in the city we came from?
But I'm gonna say for the sake of sanity, unless you choose not to, you kind of ignore most of the voices, especially in and around the clinic, because that's where if people are at their worst, they gone, like they die there. So you're pretty familiar with at least 5 or 10 of them.
Cool. So Johnsley pauses. Up until this point in travel, has her death sense been going off?
Not at all. Once you left the clinic and once you left the city, it's been actually oddly really peaceful up until this point.
Okay. Johnsley just sort of stops as soon as the flesh on her skin starts sort of crawling, specifically on her forearms underneath her like wraps. She has these like cloth wraps that go all the way up to her forearms. And she just sort of like flexes her fingers and goes, we should be careful. Tulsi, you might want to stop,
I don't want to climb all over my friends.
That's okay. That's fine. Maybe just also keep an ear out. I have a bad feeling.
Move it. Tulsi just gets quieter with the singing, but still dancing.
Cool. And then Johnson's gonna very cautiously proceed forward.
Okay. And I think for the... I just tell you that there's stuff and then you expend AP to basically get some extra info if I'm correct.
Yes. Let me check. Yeah, I can spend an AP to sense whether any sentient creatures have died nearby and how long ago they died.
Okay.
I can also sense the location where any creatures died, as well as the general nature of their death. I sense if they were killed by natural causes, an accident, or foul play.
Okay. Yeah. So you let me know when you would like to use those. Right now it's still like, yeah, you're still not close. You can start to see what is like old buildings. But you're not quite in the village proper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until we're like in the village proper. I'm assuming when my senses are tingling a lot more to expend that AP.
Yeah. So Gojin and Rahim, how are you guys doing? What you up to?
So, let's see. I think Rahim's trying to look for kind of where the biggest house in town would be, where like the headman or equivalent would be, anywhere that might have records or written evidence of when this place, or anything that might look like what the Lohari family's workshop was, so that we can try and figure out like what written evidence there is of what was produced, or what the population decline looked like, or really anything we can find that would give us concrete evidence of some sort. Maybe a graveyard, if nothing else. If like try and find the town graveyard if we can't find anything else.
Okay. And Gojin, is there anything you would be interested in?
Not really. He's sort of just looking around. But unlike his other companions, he's actually walking with a sense of confidence. His quarterstaff just resting over his shoulders as he, strolls through the town. He's not making a lot of noise, but he isn't trying to hide either.
Okay.
Maybe as he was passing by Johnsley, he said, "Luck is for losers," as he.
Sorry.
For losers?
Luck is for losers.
Okay.
And
yeah, so as you reach this town, the town definitely has whatever was not something that would essentially erode a lot slower than others, and you get the sense just from the look of this place that this was maybe within